Today we conclude the fourth video in our series, Dog Training for Agility. I am Susan Garrett. I have with me tonight Momentum. Momentum is sporting her beautiful Back on Track jacket that we actually are going to give two of you the chance to win a Back on Track with your dog's name monogrammed on it, just like Momentum's is. And on the other side will be a beautiful logo of Agility Nation. I don't even have one with Agility Nation on. Compliments of You Pet Wellness, and that's youpetwellness.ca. So thank you to the lovely, generous people at You Pet Wellness for sponsoring us tonight. Woo woo! Raise the roof for You Pet Wellness. Okay, lot to cover tonight. If you're watching this, obviously you have a keen interest in dog agility, so I honor you for that. You have a keen interest in the dog training of dog agility, because what I found is a lot of people love to do dog agility, but they don't necessarily get as excited about the dog training portion of it. Personally, it's my first love. Tonight what we're going to cover is the number one reason why some people can succeed in agility, and it seems that their journey seems relatively simple one, and they just seem to click and get success, where other people struggle. And the reason for it isn't as the obvious one that you might think it is, because you might say, oh, it's the person's experience, that's why they're successful. But I've seen people struggle with the same things on agility dog number 2 and 3 and 4 that they did with agility dog number 1. Okay, so it's not experience in the sport that makes the difference here. It's not having access to a facility like this or access to any agility equipment, because we have tons of students who don't have these benefits, who are definitely excelling and succeeding. I'm not suggesting that anybody has an easy path to it, but there is a definite difference. And I would like you guys to think about what could be, if it's not experience in the sport, if it's not access to agility equipment, if it's not access to a facility to train, and it's definitely not the breed of dog you choose, what could be the difference why some people seem to succeed? One trainer may succeed where another one is not going to. I'm also going to cover what I feel are the 5 agility obstacles that I don't think a judge should ever have to raise their hand for. 5 agility obstacles that should never be faulted, and why I believe they should never be faulted. And for my own dogs, once I get them into the sport of agility, it's rare that I ever have a fault on any of them. Actually, I've had several of my dogs go through entire careers with never ever faulting 4 of the 5 of them. Okay, so I'm going to share that one with you. It's actually might be 6, but the 6th one's a bit of a gray area. So all of that tonight, and also for everybody who is interested in carrying on learning more about the dog training for agility, what we affectionately refer to as Agility Nation around here, I'm going to share with you more about that membership area later on in today's workshop. But first, if you're watching this, obviously you love dog agility, and obviously you love dog training. But possibly as you're working through your own dog training, success doesn't come to you at the speed that you would like. Maybe you're experiencing frustration, and that frustration leads to you maybe not training as often as you should. And the list of challenges that you need to work through gets longer, but your time that you can dedicate to the training gets smaller. And so this is like a hamster wheel, and suddenly you just feel stuck. And if that's you, I want you to know it's completely normal. Many of us end up in that exact situation. And I'm going to help you tonight to see, number 1, why it happens, and number 2, what you can do to move out of survivor, something where you're just kind of like in a survivor mode, and help change you into an achiever mode. And I don't mean achiever like you're going to go out and win world championships, because we all have different levels of what we consider achievement. But when you're in survivor mode, you're shut down and you're just doing the bare necessities to get by, and that's not enjoying the sport, and definitely that's not your dog enjoying the sport. So I'm going to show you how with a better strategy you can have all that stress melted away and you can move forward. So if you're somebody, you might be brand new to dog agility and you're just, if you feel like you're drinking from the fire hose because you're so overwhelmed with all the information you're getting from all sorts of sources, and you're looking for something that makes sense to you, that resonates with the kind of training you want to do with your dog, that resonates with the kind of relationship you want to develop with your dog, or you're an elite trainer. You could be somebody who competes at a world championship level and you're just looking for new insights or new innovations into the dog training of agility. How to shave maybe weeks, maybe months off of training a skill. Or maybe you're just looking for new solutions for your students. Then today you're going to love what I've got for you. All right, that's what we're covering today. So what I'm known for, obviously I've had success in dog agility. I've won many world championships. I've won countless number of national championships, both here in Canada and in the United States. But what I'm really known for is my application of the science of behavior into agility. How I can dissect what's going on and come up with a dog training solution where others might not be able to see it as clearly. That's really what I'm known for, and that reputation has come from my long career teaching seminars and the thousands and thousands of dogs and their owners that I've seen interact. And what I've seen over the years, I've seen that there's really only two different types or groups of dog trainers. And if you're watching this, you're a dog trainer. You might say, oh, no, Susan, you're the dog trainer. If you own a dog and you live with your dog, that dog's learning from you. They might be learning great stuff and they might be learning not so great stuff, but they're learning from you, which makes you the dog trainer. So the two types of groups. Now, as I said, some people, things come easy to them. And I want to give you an example. On video 2, or workshop number 2 in our series, I demonstrated how we in Agility Nation would teach distance work. And I gave you the simple steps that you could do this with your own dog. And then I asked you to try, for those of you who tried it, to write a comment on a post of what you thought, what were your feelings about that. And I just wrote down some of the comments. So these are workshop 2 people who tried the distance work, and after trying it, what were their feelings about their training session. So we had eye-opening, amazing, better than I expected, fun, wow, my dog loved it, it was enlightening, awesome. And some of these were said several times. I just took a sampling of some of the things that were said. Made distance work fun. Wow, it worked. And I love this one. And I mentioned this one, I think, in our last workshop. My dog thinks I'm smart again. I think that's one of the best comments that I've ever read. Because once we train in a way that makes sense to our dogs are like, you get it. It's like this epiphany, you get it, okay, now we can do stuff together, right? So this was just from one simple little skill. There's probably hundreds of skills we need to teach in agility. I picked one and decided to share with you how we would teach that in Agility Nation. Actually, you saw an actual shoot from Agility Nation that we were preparing for Agility Nation on distance work, right? So one little skill and how it changed. And this goes back to something that I've quoted many times. My mentor, Bob Bailey, he says, when training is right, it's easy. So all the times people have tried to get their dogs to work at a distance and were frustrated and it didn't have reliable results, it created the illusion of distance, but when it's right, it's easy. So that goes back to the two types of dog trainers that I've seen in all the years that I've trained in the sport or given seminars around the world in dog agility. And that goes back to, I taught my very first seminar in dog agility back in 1996. And over the years, I stopped counting, but I gave well over 200 seminars just in agility, and I didn't count after that. So 2 groups, and I've split them up here. And what I've got, if you've got trainer number 1, and I've outlined trainer number 1 in green, okay? And trainer number 2 is outlined here in black. So the line going through the middle here separates the two. There's a lot of things that we share. So frustration. Nobody gets off training a dog without some frustration. And if you are training and you have no frustration, then guess what? You are not stepping outside of your comfort zone. You're just doing what you've done, and you're never going to know what's possible. All right? We all experience some level of frustration. And so there'll be some training sessions, that was frustrating. And then there'll be some training sessions that, it was satisfying, it didn't blow my mind, but we did stuff, it was okay. And then there's some training sessions that are inspiring. They're like, nailed it. You know what I mean? Those ones they're awesome. So trainer number 1 spends an awful lot of time being frustrated. So they go out to train and they get frustrated. They might have a little bit of satisfaction, but they have a relatively little amount of inspiration. But that little bit of inspiration is the motivation that keeps them in the sport. Now, after a while, everybody is going to say, I just can't deal with this anymore. There's some superhuman people that will take a huge amount of frustration and keep going. I remember reading an article about, who is the cyclist? Lance Armstrong. And he said he trains to be in the most physical pain he can create on his body every day, so that when he goes to that one big tournament a year, it's not as painful. Okay? That's not normal. For us normal folk, we're not going to deal with a piled up level of frustration, because what happens is if you're dealing with a huge level of frustration, you end up just looking for an excuse not to train, right? Okay, I know I should be training my dog. I got a list of things to do, but I think that the car's a mess. The kids. I haven't done my groceries. So there's always an excuse to train. Last night, did I get in from Chicago last night? Yeah. Okay, so I flew in from Chicago. I had to quickly get a haircut, so you could see my eyes on today's video. I got in about dinner time, went and got a haircut, got back here, and it was around 9 o'clock. Hadn't seen my dogs. I had to train, right? I usually am in bed by 9:30, maybe 10 o'clock. It was 25 to 10 when I came out to train my dogs last night, because I find training inspirational. And when you find training inspirational, you look forward to your next session together. That there's little that can deter you from a daily training session. Or, if you miss one day, you got to get out there. It doesn't matter if it's your bedtime, you've got to get out here. And I didn't do a ton last night, but I came out for maybe 20 minutes and trained my dogs. Okay? So those are 2 different dog trainers. And the question is, why? What results in a huge amount of frustration for one and just a little bit of frustration for another? If you can guess, I want you to put a comment in the comments, and LOH is going to be looking for you. Okay? So trainer 1 and trainer 2. Now, they're both happy to keep going in the sport of agility, but the outcome of this training is going to be different, and I'm going to show you over here. Okay? So trainer 1 starts training the dog, and we go up, we get a little bit of training, and then we have a valley. We go up, and you know what? The road to success isn't a linear one for any of us. We all go up and then go, crap, that was frustrating. We have these sessions where we don't have success. Then we might go up again, and then we have these plateaus where we don't really tank, but we don't really see any progress either. And so trainer number 1, they're going to go up and down and up and down and up and down and a lot of plateaus. Finally, they get to a place where the dog can get into the ring. Can I have that marker, please? And they can successfully get a qualifying score. Well, is there only one C? Successfully get a qualifying score, all right? So they finally get their qualifying score, but here's what's going to happen. You're going to go now, you're going to keep trialing, and you're going to drop, and then you might have a little bit up, and then you're going to really tank. And you're going to really tank here because what you thought were behaviors were really illusions. And then you're going to tank and you're going to get frustrated and you're going to plateau down here a little bit. And then you're going to work away about it. You're going to get some more qualifying scores. And you're going to go up and down throughout your career. Now, I know this because I've lived this. And I've shared with you my first agility dog, Shelby. And I didn't keep track of my qualifying rate back then, but I bet you over her career we might have qualified 20 to 25% of the time. That would be pushing it. And early, we just didn't qualify. We didn't. For the first 2 years, I think we might have got 1 or 2 qualifying scores. Now, back then, the sport was, relatively new. 1988 was when we started training in dog agility. And so there was a lot we didn't know. And there was, and as I shared with you in the last video, I skipped a lot of steps, a lot of foundation. I'd love a do-over with that dog. I'd love a do-over with my early dogs. Okay, so this trainer, me in the early years, many people, you go up and down, getting some qualifying, but never really getting much past qualifying. Now, Shelby won several national championships, right? She wasn't a terrible agility dog. She was one of the best of her time. But by today's standard, that wasn't successful. She could have gone a lot faster. She was a fast dog, could have gone a lot faster. Inconsistent behaviors, and the skills were dependent on me being beside her. Couldn't weave with me on the right. We had to do weaves on the left. I could get an entry on the right, but then I'd quickly get over to the left or she would have come out. That tells you a little bit about those skills. Okay, so this dog, you go along, and maybe your dog isn't as nearly as bad as Shelby and I were back in the day, but you just don't have the success you know you'd like to have, and your dog gets frustrated. And what happens? The dog then, the dog ends up getting retired. So, trainer number 2. You have the same peaks and valleys early on, you have little plateaus, but you notice you get into a rhythm and you get trialing, so this dog gets into the ring a lot sooner than this dog does. We have success with the training much earlier, but the same thing happens. You get into the ring and then you have a little bit of a tanking, just like I did with Momentum this weekend. She's been doing great, and this was, I think, her 5th or 6th trial, and then we've lost our brain, and we believe weave pulls should end at 10 and not 12. All right, so then, boom, we fall below that qualifying line, and we have some challenges, which is why I was doing a training session last night at 10 o'clock at night, and you just flirt around that qualifying line, but then you get it together. And do we have any reasons? Okay, so let me hear what you guys believe are the difference between these 2 trainers.
Okay, you want me to come closer?
Sure, LOH is coming closer.
Clarity in training, a plan, strategic planning, analysis of progress, deliberate sessions, clarity, planning and purposeful training, building on success, frame of mind, looking forward to training, videoing, foundation dog skills.
Oh, you guys are good. You're good. Okay, so these are brilliant answers. Brilliant answers. Planning, clarity, having a plan that you know will be successful. All right? It's a plan that you know will work. Clarity with your training so that the dog really gets what you want. And that, in our program, that comes from layers of learning. Layers of learning. Okay? So what happens is, when this dog struggles a little bit, these behaviors were never illusions. They were clear behaviors. And so when we came down, the dog says, oh, I get it. 12 pulls in every event. I got it. And then you just excel. And the dog keeps getting better and better. You see the line, we're getting to a peak level here, and we stay at this peak level, and this is when the dog's in their prime in agility. But you see, even as the dog gets older, and the retirement point for each dog is much different, this dog's skills never really decline because they were so well rooted in really good science-based dog training. They were never illusions. So my dogs as 8 and 9-year-old dogs have as perfect contacts as they did as 2-year-old dogs, all right? And so what happens here and why these dogs end up being retired is because of the impact. There's an impact of this training, the impact that training has on the dog's body. So a dog that has been strategically brought along with layers of body awareness, layers of proprioception, layers of jump training skills, layers of, let me just give you an example. So in agility, there's a lot of bending. We have to get our dogs to, wrap their bodies around things. Yeah, you was asleep, and I know. So I'm just going to warm her up and ask her for, can you, a one? Oh, you got, oops, I dropped a cookie. Okay, one, there. So a little proprioception, two. That's better. Two, good. Three, that's good. Four, good. So awareness of your body, can you give me a loop? So a loop is she needs to wrap her body in a circle, round. So is this dog going to have an easier time at making tight turns or a more difficult time? Loop. Nice. So a dog who can bend their body like that, thank you, you can down? Good. Those are just some of the layers that Shelby, like there's no chance. No, that was so far beyond what I ever did with my early dogs. Okay, where'd I put my marker? So, the impact on these two dogs on their body, the layers and layers of understanding of how to prepare for a tight turn rather than landing long, falling on your shoulders, scrambling back for the dog who really doesn't have that those foundational layers. The impact on the body may be why this dog gets retired early. Or it could be the impact on the dog's love of the sport. Because if the dog is being trained like this, remember going back to the first graphic I showed you over here, the dog spends a lot of time in frustration alley. And how much are they going to love agility when every training session, or the vast majority, I don't know what the percentages are, but I bet if there's a mathematician out there, they could tell me what the breakdown is, because it is a simple math equation there. The breakdown of time that dog spends in frustration versus the time the dog spends in pure, unadulterated joy. This is where agility is so much fun for you as a trainer and so much fun for the dog. And what the next thing that impacts is the relationship that you have with the dog. So it impacts the dog's relationship with the sport, but it also impacts your relationship with the dog. And that's why, now there's other reasons why agility dogs get retired. I've had to retire agility dogs young. There's unforeseen things. But these are three biggies why generally that retirement line happens because of the frustration and the impact on these three things. So those are two trainers, two different pathways in agility, and there is no difference. This could be a very, a person who has great access. They might have a facility just like this one of their own. They may have all the agility instruction. They have seminars they can go to every weekend. But that doesn't mean you are going to end up being this trainer. This is a trainer who has a strategically planned, well thought out, science-based program that doesn't create illusions but creates capabilities. And that's what I want for you. Right, girly? Okay. So let me just get to, can I swap out one of these boards for a clean one, Phil?
Yes.
All right. Let's just take this one. Oh, thank you. Phil didn't want to get on TV. Okay, so now I want to get to those 5 mystery behaviors. This is something that I've been thinking about for a little while, and when I brought feature and swagger out, my goal was I never wanted to have a fault on these 5 behaviors. Now I didn't succeed, but I came very close. So the first behavior is a seesaw. Okay, and I'm going to put a little asterisk beside the seesaw, and I'll come back to that. Seesaw should never have a fault. Encore went through her entire career, never had a fault on a seesaw. Feature went through her almost entire career till she slid off her seesaw. She got a little naughty near the end of her, but she's still doing agility. Dog walk. And I'm going to put a little asterisk beside this one. Now, when I'm referring to the seesaw, dog walk, and A-frame, I'm talking about stopped contacts. I am not talking about if you have a running contact. But if you have a stopped seesaw, a stopped dog walk, and a stopped A-frame, I believe the judge should never have an opportunity to put their hand up in their life. Buzzy went through his entire career. If you've read Shaping Success, you're familiar with my dog Buzz. As crazy as he was, he never had a fault on any of these obstacles, not through his entire career, okay? It's different if it's a running dog walk or a running A-frame or a running seesaw, and I'm going to share with you why. Now, the asterisks will be up contacts. That's a little bit different, okay? So we'll circle back to that. Okay, so those are the first three. The next one is can I have a little eraser? I put that in the wrong spot. That'll work though. Thank you. Okay, so weave exits. Once a dog gets in and is weaving, there is no reason for a judge to ever have to put up their hand if they've been trained to fluency, okay? Clearly, Momentums weren't trained to fluency because I had 4 of them on the weekend where she left at pull 10, okay? Now, moving over a little bit, no, I'm gonna give you one more. Now, this one isn't something that you would get a fault for, but I'm putting it in here anyway because it's a behavior in agility, and that's start lines. There should never be a reason your dog ever breaks a start line through their entire career. It just shouldn't happen. I don't know how many years linearly that I've competed in agility, but I've competed with, I think, 9 dogs. Momentum, I believe, is my 9th dog. And they've all had long careers, at least. Most of them were, I probably average of 9 years in agility. And I only ever had one dog break a start line. And she did it less than a handful of times, okay? And the last time I had a dog break a start line was 1994, okay? So these are the behaviors that I don't think should ever be faulted, and I'm gonna get to the why of this in a second, all right? The ones that you will have less control over, the ones where if there's going to be faults, these should be the ones, are jumps. So that could be a wall jump, a double jump, a triple jump. It could be not so much a long jump, but I'll put the long jump in there, but long jump might be a gray area. I'm going to put the long jump in here. And I'm also going to put in here maybe, so this is gray area. This is definitely no faults. And this is faults because there's 2 things that this is relying on. Handling and a little bit of luck. Sometimes stuff just happens. Sometimes the wind blows and the bar falls down, okay? So we have 3 distinct areas. The last one is weave entries. Now weave entries, I'm gonna put kind of in here, because handling can have an effect on weave entries. But the common denominator of all these is they're black and white. There's a discrete beginning of a behavior, and there's a discrete ending of a behavior. And as long as you keep the beginning and the ending discrete, and the pieces in between have been well trained in strategic layers, there should never be a reason for your dog ever to be faulted. And I don't mean like early on when we get to the beginning of that graft, when you're first starting and the dog's learning a little bit. Maybe in your first few trials cut them some slack, but after you've got a few trials under your belt and maybe you've been trialing 6 months for a year, Should never happen. These should never be faulted. And if they are being faulted, then there's something seriously wrong with the foundation of training. And that's what I would strongly encourage you. So we'll just back that up, please, Phil. So how do you get to a place where you have this clarity? How do you get to a place where you never have faults on any of these 5/6 behaviors? It comes from the plan. It comes from being purposeful and having clarity. And that is what Agility Nation is all about. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of water. So Agility Nation is a membership site. I believe on video 1, I shared with you a little bit about Agility Nation. It's something that we put together. I run a program called Handling 360. Now that's all about the handling of agility, and we're not even discussing that because there's a lot of people who handle different ways than I do. So that's completely unrelated to what we're talking about. We're just talking about dog training here. But when I was, after the first year of Handling 360, I noticed that although we fixed people's handling skills, there was still a lot of challenges with the dog training. And Handling 360 already had so many things in it, I couldn't put more in it. So I decided we're gonna start a little membership club. And I'm just gonna share the foundation dog training I do with my own dogs and the challenges and Lord knows she's given me new challenges, that when I work through a new challenge, then we put it into Agility Nation. So it grew to be this little membership area. People paid monthly or yearly to be a member of. And it grew. And I think we're 17 or 18 months we've been in this. And so it's something like if you like bite-sized pieces, like the distance work, it's just like that. Here's a little bite-sized lesson. You don't have to do a whole class. It's just a bite-sized lesson. Get it, learn it, own it, love it. Your dog is inspired by it. The time you spend in motivated, inspired training goes up because you're just doing these bite-sized sessions that the dog has great success with. Okay? So who is Agility Nation for? Really, if you're brand new, this is perfect for you because you're learning the skills right from the start, and it's science-based training that's been proven many, many times over, not just by the success of my dogs, because obviously I've got pretty brilliant dogs, but the success of all of our students. And you know, they've just, so many of our students say it's their favorite program that we have. Okay, it's, if you're at a point where you're competing and you know that there's more for you and you feel bad that you're holding your dog back, then that's what Agility Nation is for. Okay, it's definitely, it's a place for people who love the dog training of agility. I put it in a nutshell, that's it. So I'm going to, do you think we can try this, Phil? Fingers crossed. Yeah, we've had a very fussy TV. Okay. So I'm going to wake up my computer and ta-da! Okay, here's Agility Nation. I just want to share with you what it looks like in Agility Nation. So you come out here and we have weekly topics. So the first Monday of every month is our featured course. And that's where we have agility. This is really cool. We have an agility judge from any judge from all over the world. We try to pick different countries. They give us a course that they've already judged, and they tell us what they were thinking about when they designed the course, what challenges they put out, what they thought would be challenges, and then when they've watched it run, what surprised them. How did it play out? So what you get by the featured course, you get to see the insight of how judges think, and that can impact your training. Oh, well, I see now how the judge was planning this weave pull entry to be tricky, so I'm going to practice this kind of weave pull entry. All right, so it's great to get It's like the other side of the thinking. I personally am not a judge. I honor all that are. I have the attention span of a gnat. So it's really neat to see somebody else's thinking that's completely different than mine. All right, so then we go to the second Monday, and that's the workshop. And that's similar to what you're seeing right now. So here I give anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour about different topics. So here we have, foot targets for running contacts or up contacts, progressing that to your running targets, hand targets for stop contacts, weave challenges. You see, all just different things, working through 2x2s, seesaw challenges. That's the workshop. So that's me. That's very similar to what you've got in the past week here with me. And then our next weekly topic, the 5-minute trainer. You know what a 5-minute trainer is because you saw one being videoed. It was the distance work, right? So they're short little bites of behavior that you can do very quickly. So sequencing backsides and blinds. So some of it is just short little sequencing. How to shape a tire, right from ground level, how to shape a tire, how to shape a long jump, the same thing with a long jump. Teaching a skill that's brilliant for gamble work. It's called the look back skill. So all kinds of different quick little things, how to improve your turns, how to challenge your dog's weaving. So that's a 5-minute trainer. It's just quick little things. All right, the next one is Body Works. Now this is for you and for your dog. So some weeks, some Mondays, it's all about teaching skills for your dog. So behaviors like the 1, 2, 3, 4 that you saw me do with Momentum, raising 1, 2, 3, 4. That's our very own Kim Dunstan. She taught that. It's somewhere in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you click on any one of these skills, what you get is the video, you get a PDF download, and you get an audio download, all right, on any one of these. So maybe you like to listen to things in the car, maybe you like to print things out for, where did my little printout go? Here it is. So this is a PDF that I printed out for the Body Works for people. So this is my coach. I actually work with a professional football player. He plays free safety for the Hamilton Ticats, and he went through some of the work he does with me. He put into Body Work. So it's not just Susan Garrett teaching in Agility Nation. We have Bob Bailey in here. We have Martina Klimsova Magnoli, who is a 2-time world champion. We have some of our staff, Courtney Stevens. We have all kinds of experts. They're experts in what they do, and they just make Agility Nation what it is. All right, so then we have, typically we only have 4 Mondays in every month. Every Monday ends up being like your birthday, but every once in a while there's 5 Mondays. So what I decided to do is I decided to put what I call behind the scenes. Whenever there's an extra Monday, and it's something like here we've had footwear, what footwear I've worn, all different brands of agility footwear, and I tell you all the good things I like about them and the things that you might be aware of when you're picking footwear. How I eat at a trial. There's some more with Bob and I discussing training efficiencies. How to make a peanut holder for doing your body work. So there's all kinds of different things there. All right, now of course, it wouldn't be a Susan Garrett program without surprises, and along the way we do have surprises. So I'm just going to go back to the board here. So what we have is we have our basic 4 weeks of amazing surprises every Monday morning. You wake up, so it's either featured course the first Monday, it's the workshop, and of course you can post questions here, ask questions for explanation. You can post your own videos of things you've tried, and we can help you see where you can get better. The 5-minute trainer, and then Body Works. So every Monday you get something awesome. And then, here's what we do. We love our community because our community is very interactive. So we give people special surprises when they're to celebrate anniversaries. So if you're with us for 3 months, on your 3rd month anniversary, you get something very special, something that I have never given out ever before. And I would say it's as good as that MP3 download on Mindset. And then at 6 months, you get another anniversary special. So we have all these little surprises we give out along the way. So for example, this summer, we actually did a live video feed of me teaching at summer camp. So, you know, to audit summer camp was, what, about $300? No, more than that. Between $300 and $400. You got it for free, just as a surprise, member of being on Agility Nation. So we try to make people's membership get paid for and the surprises we give them. That's my goal. Anyway, so that's Agility Nation in a nutshell. And it's, you know, it's for people who want to progress their dog training skills, whether you're brand new to agility or you've been around forever or you have students. It's definitely not for somebody who is, you know, they're interested. Yeah, I'm interested in getting better. It's like I'm interested in losing weight. It doesn't happen unless you make a commitment. So if you're just interested, this is not the place for you, because this is for people who are moving the needle, who are progressing their dog training. Okay? Okay. Yes, Linda.
I have a great question.
Yes. Okay.
Harry wants to know, how does the student not feel overwhelmed by the choices of all those skills you just showed?
So how does the student not feel overwhelmed by the choices of all the skills that I just posted? You get one skill a Monday, and you can just stick with one skill every Monday, and that's it. We have other solutions. If you would like to, say, focus on just training obstacles, we have the quick start, the quick start path through the nation is what we call it, and that just tells you, here, go to here, go here, go here, go here, if you're interested in fixing your contacts, for example, right? If you're interested in running contacts. Okay, let's get back to, just go back to here for a second. So you're probably wondering what all this costs, and think of it, it's a subscription. So it's an investment of just $50 a month. That's it. $50 a month, and every Monday you get something amazing sent to you. You come into our community and you can, you know, download your PDF, download your MP3, get to work right away. It's less than $10 a week, guys. That's it. Or if you're somebody who, like me, I really would prefer to pay everything up front, you can save $100 and get it for $500 for the full year. Okay, so every Monday you get that. And I'm just going to share with some of our community. Okay, so here's some of the comments. I asked some of our, did I do that right, Phil? No, hit that one. Okay, asked our Agility Nation folk, can you just give me some comments to share with people what you think of Agility Nation? So I'm going to share some of their comments. Love shaping the tire. That was a big aha for me. I took those training games and applied them to other obstacles. I love the chance to go in depth in so many different topics that are important to agility, not just obstacle training, but body awareness, mental prep, and even footwear. Agility Nation's the best. It really gets into the dog training portion of agility, which is sadly left out of a lot of agility programs. Last year, as a surprise, Agility Nation was given Susan Garrett's summer workshop, both masters as well as young dogs. That alone was worth the cost of the entire year. I love the workshop and the 5-minute trainer in Agility Nation, also the feedback. Sorry, it's hard to leave it at one thing. I just didn't share this person's name because you know, it might have been I didn't want it to hurt anyone's feeling. So Agility Nation is what helped me with training of the seesaw. All other instructors made my dog more afraid. It was worth it. I love Agility Nation because of all the bodywork skills and have benefited me, and to help with my high drive border jack. These have seriously helped her being able to think. It's so easy to build layers of learning and surprise yourself with how much you've progressed. And your dog realizes you're smart again. As an instructor, Agility Nation is priceless. I certainly do not know everything, and if a student gets stuck, weave pulls, teeter, for example, it's a great resource. Agility Nation is the missing link between handling systems and training agility consistently. I love it. I was frustrated with running contacts until I got into Agility Nation. So Sanji Brooks, who's actually a member of the US World Team, she wrote Totally Transformed Creed's running frame. The step-by-step was amazing. And I do train running contacts differently than most people in the world, so you know, it is definitely a fresh approach. Why do I love Agility Nation? I'm a dog training nerd. I've always loved the ins and outs of training. I haven't ever really trialed very much, but I really love training. Agility Nation allows me an inside view into Susan's years of experience and her scientific approach to dog training. I love Mondays because of Agility Nation. An example is how to train the tire. Where else are you going to learn to train that? Okay, that's just a few comments from our nation, people in the nation. Okay, so this is the first time ever that we are opening up registration to people outside of our little community. This is not, you know, this is multi-denominational. So it doesn't matter whose handling system that you're using. This has nothing to do with handling. We don't talk about handling in any way. I purposefully do this because I realize everybody needs dog training. It doesn't matter who is your guru for handling. We're not going to interfere with this. We're just going to talk about the training, the dog training for all of your skills and agility. So, as I said, this is the first time we're opening it up to the world. And it's the only time that we're going to offer it in this way. So what we're going to do is, yes, you get something great every Monday, and you get the surprises for your anniversaries as you stay. We're going to reinforce you with all sorts of really cool things. But what we're also going to do is we're going to give you access to everything that's there right now, just for the people who are signing up now. Now, the next time we offer Agility Nation, it's not going to be structured this way, right? When you sign up to buy a magazine, you don't get every back issue that magazine ever produced. You get your subscription starting from day one. We are doing something different right now because it's the first time we're opening this up. You get your subscriptions starting now, but you also get access to everything that everybody else has had access to for the last year and a half, okay? Now, you don't get access to their little anniversary surprises and their little, month and, 3-month anniversary. You have to earn those for yourself, but you get access to all the workshops, all the 5-minute trainers, all the body awareness, all the featured courses, right? So all of that, we're making it possible for people who join this time around, because this is our first time opening it up for that simple $50 a month, or $500 for the entire year, right? Less than $10 for a week, okay? And that's going to be, you'll see that come up if you're going monthly, you'll get the same time every month. You'll see that Agility Nation come up on your credit card, and it's the same thing if you do it annually, the same. And of course, you can stop at any time. We make that super easy for you if you decide you've changed your mind, which doesn't happen. Our Agility Nation folk, they stay with us. Okay, so you're basically getting 17 bonus months for the people who come on board with us right now, all right? This is only going to be available until April 27th, which I believe, is it a week today?
Yes.
All right, and I promise you it's not going to be offered like this in this structured way again at this price for sure. All right, so let me just get a water here. Do we have any questions there, Linda, that I just want to make sure I cover everything? Yes, you're welcome to ask questions. Yes, Linda?
One, you just answered about, is it handling specific? How is it different than your handling program, H360?
Mm-hmm.
And the last one is there information for the novice?
Okay, so number one, it is nothing to do with handling here. Okay, so Handling 360 is our handling program, and what that is lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3 in every course. That is not what this is. This is skills. It's the dog training. And so what we have is we have these pathways that you can join. So maybe you are, you're wanting to just troubleshoot. You know what? I've got a dog who barks crazy. So I just want to jump on the troubleshooting pathway. Quick start, it's called a quick start pathway through the nation. And troubleshooting pathway is going to talk about, you know, getting your dog to be quiet when you're working multiple dogs. It's going to be getting your dog to go line up. So that's a skill that you may have seen me do with my dogs. After they've done a jump or an obstacle, I'll tell them go line up and they go and run to there. So you'll learn little skills like that. There's the pathway that is just focused on the new person, and it's the fundamentals. It's getting those layers in that I said were so important. The body awareness, the dog's ability to know how to take a jump properly, and you know, the dog training skills of that foundation. So we have 5 different pathways. You're going to get inside, you're going to pick a pathway, or you can go a la carte. You can just say, I just want to do everything about running contacts. I want to know how Susan trained Momentum to do those awesome turns off her dog walk or off of her A-frame. So you might just jump in there and just completely get obsessed on running contacts. It's up to you how you want to take your time and journey through Agility Nation, right? It's going to be there. Things aren't going to go away. You have access to them for as long as you're a member. Okay? Well, did I cover? You have access to all of this as long as you're a member of Agility Nation. Okay? So we're not going to suddenly hide things. Once you're a member, you're in our community, you're part of the family, and you have a welcome to everything for as long as you stay. Okay? Anything else?
Nope, I covered them.
Okay, you know what? You're like me. You have goals, you have desired results. So right now, you've got to say, what path, what kind of trainer am I going to be? There's nothing like Agility Nation anywhere on earth. That's why we put it together. I love dog training. I love talking about dog training, and I love attracting people who are experts in dog training to share their knowledge with my community. And that's why, if you have a desire to grow your understanding of dog training, if you are frustrated with any aspect of your agility, if you don't find yourself inspired to get out and train your dog daily, then there has got to be something wrong with what you are doing now. So you can jump in, become a member. We actually are offering 14-day risk-free. So you can get in, you have 14 days to look around and say, holy crap, I love this. And I'm positive that you're going to stay, because it's less than $10 a week. You can't get dog training information like this for less than $10 a week. Okay, guys, so I'm going to wrap that up unless we have any more questions? You want to transform your dog training? You want me as your mentor and all of the amazing staff and resources we have in Agility Nation? I invite you now to, is there a link that they can click?
In the description, there's a hyperlink.
Oh, so if you look way up, any of you Canadians up there, that was a reference to the Friendly Giant? There's a link in the description of this video. Now, anybody who's not a Canadian has to Google the Friendly Giant and Jerome the Giraffe. But go to the link first. Click the link. I can't wait I want to hear what you have to say about Agility Nation. Once you join, come on back into this workshop group and tell me what you think. Mind blow, right? If you were inspired by the results you got from that little bit of distance work, there is something for everybody here in Agility Nation. I look forward to seeing you inside, and that's it for now. Thank you, guys.